All right. Drum roll, please. Hey, everybody. It is good to be back. And we aren't waiting until January 1 to kick this off. We are starting now, early December. We're here with some crazy, amazing messages. So Matt and I have been working together for what? Going on 2 years now?
Yeah, going on 2 years. About to be the anniversary here soon. Let's go.
Hell, heck yeah. I mean, gosh, I think back to our first conversation, it was like almost all the things that we set out for the last 2 years that we were going to hit, those milestone markers, recruiting goals, production goals, event goals, like you just freaking smashed. And, I know it takes a village. So I love working with
Absolutely. Couldn't do it without you and the team. So grateful for you, of course, and excited to see where the next 2 years takes us, right?
Yeah, the sum is far larger than its parts, right? So stepping into the holidays, we've got a lot to celebrate. We have such an awesome high we're coming off of from your last event at the Annapolis Yacht Club with 150 realtors that we're just so pumped to learn from our CEO, Joe. And
Yep.
why don't you share a little bit about like your vision for that event and how it really came true?
Yeah, absolutely. So my initial vision for that event came at our AnnieMac Sales Summit. I was sitting in the crowd in Florida, with 700 people there. Me and you were like 12 feet away, right? And Joe was presenting, and I was just blown away by his presentation, right? I think there has been challenges like every year in our business, right? But this year we have some additional challenges that we faced. And Joe just did such an amazing job at speaking to multiple different segments of people, whether that's people who are looking at the numbers, whether that's people who are business development, originators, real estate agents, brokers, business owners. Like, I just think he does an incredible job articulating things that are so high level, right? That are sometimes hard to speak on. And when I was at Sales Summit, I'm sitting in the crowd and I'm just thinking, my entire team is going to share this with our, friends, family, on social media, database. And like, I don't think we're going to be able to I think we're doing a disservice by sharing it through a third party rather than it coming straight from him. Mm-hmm. So I initially was just like, I want to hear from Joe himself to my team and my partners that I work with. We had a breakout room with the branch managers. Joe was walking around the tables, and I just right up to him, hey man, I want you to come to Annapolis and I want you to do a podcast with me. That was the initial ask. And Joe, just like the amazing CEO that he said yes right away.
He's always down for everything.
Always down. He literally pulled out his calendar. Everybody's looking like, oh my God, what is happening right now? Joe's like booking a meeting at the table. So we booked the time, and it was, a month out from Sales Summit. As we were getting closer, I had further conversations, right, about the market, right? In that month, it was interest rates continued to increase. Our referral partners were having troubles and successes also. Some people are having their best months ever. Some people are struggling, right? So within that month, I said, I feel like I shouldn't just do this with a podcast. Joe called me. He was like, hey, he was thinking what I was thinking, right? Which is like, we should have an audience for this thing, and we should like really share together in person, right? Because we haven't been able to do that with COVID. We like had an amazing sales summit where we were all able to like get together and go belly to belly and high five and, hugs. And we have yearned for that, I feel like, over the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. So Joe said 7 days before the date. So Joe called me on November 1st and was like, hey man, how about November 8th? And Joe said yes. So I had to say yes. I was like, all right, dude. Yep. And so our team went into immediate action. We planned the event in like 24 hours and then held the event in 7 days. And it was incredible. That was the initial thought process behind it, was just to educate and get everybody in the room. And you were there, and I appreciate you coming and supporting like our team. We're so grateful for that. And we were surprised by the outreach and the response, from our partners. I mean, we value time and understand, that was if you're going to go 12 to 3 p.m. where you're leaving at 10, you're getting ready at 9:30, you're coming back at 4. That's an all day, event. And so we really took pride in that and said, hey, we're going to make sure that if you come to this event, it's going to be worth it. And you're going to be upset that you missed it. Even if you missed it, we're going to be able to follow up after. So, it was crazy. The energy was nuts in the room. Like it was just
nuts is an understatement.
Yeah, crazy, and it was wild because I thought it was around $1 billion in real estate production that was going to be in the room.
Hold on. Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, $1 billion in annual real estate production.
In one room.
Yeah, in one
Annapolis
room.
Maryland branch.
Yeah, in one branch, right? So our partners are incredible. We could they'll watch this and they're badass. They literally, some of us have worked together for 4 years and have built our businesses together. And I see myself as a business partner with them in everything that they do, from hiring to problems that they're having to their clients. I'm originating, so I'm talking to clients. I'm helping them close transactions, helping them with deals that are falling through, right? Like this morning, hey, loan officer can't get back to me, or hey, we were supposed to close yesterday. So these are like people that we love and we spend a lot of time with. And we're blessed to have such incredible partners that we feel like, instead of a little tchotchke or something stupid to give back to you on the holidays, I'm giving you value. And that's how you're, going to educate your customers and your database and grow your business next year. And so I was standing up there. It was a surreal moment for me because it's been 7 years of building my business and my team is just incredible. They went all out on offense to get people to the event. And I had everybody stand up and talk about production. And I'm like going through the numbers and I hit 10 million and I looked around and there was like 120 people standing up. And like in my head, I was like, all right, well, this is over $1 billion and everyone is standing. So we kind of did the math by the end of the, while everyone was standing and sitting down, there was a $180 million team on there, Satan Properties Group. That's my squad. I've literally worked with them for 5 years and they will all be listening and they're incredible. And it was over $2.5 billion of production in the room. And it was just special. It was something that, our team and our partners will never forget. And, that was on the 8th and it's changed our business, and their businesses since then. So I think it was just a collective great positivity, versus what's happening right in what you're seeing on the media. If you turn on the TV, like no one is going to tell you, here's how to navigate these challenges and here's how to grow your business. They're just going to give you the negativity. But unfortunately that doesn't help, right? Like that doesn't help you in your business. So we're blessed and grateful. And it was a fire under us when everybody's taking their foot off the gas. Our team is on offense.
Sitting in the audience for me, not only like, it wasn't just one of those meetings where all of a sudden you're looking around and people are on their phones or people are yawning. Like, not only did you start out with jumping jacks, which I freaking loved, got everybody's blood rushing.
You had to do. That was for me. That was for me though, to get the nerves out. I was like, I need to do something. All right.
We're like, whoo, in my heels and everything. But yeah, I mean, it was so powerful because people were lock and step with everything that Joe had to say. And here's the thing, Joe's never going to tell you what you want to hear. It's the truth and how to go out there and not only bob and weave, but allow you to get ahead in times where it feels like you're stuck in the mud. Yep. So it was fantastic. And to see the level of people speaking so highly about your crew and what you guys have put out for them and the resources, the support. It's not just closing loans and great ops, great service, great turn times and great price. It's such a plethora of other things. So that event was so powerful. And there were so many people who, I mean, think about the ripple effects. And this is for everybody that's recruiting right now. That energy, that one small seed that we dropped into that pond, not only did that rock fall into the bottom of the water, that water created a ripple effect. So every single person that was there, the photos that were taken, the footage that was posted, the people's energy, I mean, it was all over social media. And so it creates this like vibe where so many people right now are down and low or thinking, where's my next deal going to come from? it creates such motivation within our worlds. And I just want to remind all of us how powerful that is when you're building your brand. I just did my podcast with Carl White not too long ago, and this was launched, I want to say mid-October, and I'm still getting friend requests and people saying to me, wow, like I just listened to your podcast.
Yeah.
And it's creating opportunities for me then to get on the phone with loan officers and conversate on goals and what's working, what's not working, challenges we're facing. So just one small seed that's planted can create massive crop, right?
Absolutely. And for us, the biggest thing for me was the Q&A that we did with Joe, which I think Joel told me he doesn't really do much Q&A, right? Outside of like in a branch manager, right? C-team setting, right? Where people are asking questions. And that was huge for our team because we were able to hear the questions that our referral partners had to Joe to then help them in their businesses, right? They were asking Joe specific things to their business that, okay, great. Now we can take that information and work together to, help them grow their business through the Q&A. That I think was something like super special and unscripted and, something that we definitely will do again. I think that we had 300 plus people who weren't able to attend because of the date and because of the short timing. So I think the next event, like you said, it's a ripple effect. The next event, we put 300 to 500 people in the room. And that then ripple effect is, 10X of that.
To go home. Yes. Phenomenal. And I got to meet your lovely wife, Christina.
I know. And you guys hadn't met her. She was so excited and she was in the audience, right? So that was a special moment for us. Because obviously, none of this is possible without, that support all day, every day through the wins and the challenges, right? Christina is like our branch mom, in and out of the branch and has a relationship with everybody here at the branch. So that was special for you guys to meet. And, we had a new loan officer come on, Kendall Winkleman, who was like her coming out party for AnnieMac.
Shout out to you, Kendall.
Yeah, it was really just a welcome party for Kendall, but it was special. It was a moment for our team, and a day we'll never forget.
So let's talk about the growth of your team. You've got some powerhouse boss ladies that are taking over the show. You and the guys better watch out because these ladies are a force to be reckoned with. And I know you empower them with everything inside of you guys. It is so special to see you giving your team such a voice. And when we talk about our voices, and like, guys, you see, I'm not reading from anything. This is like pure from my heart. We all of us to some degree look inward at ourselves and look in the mirror and sometimes may question the imposter syndrome, right? And Matt and I were talking about this, and no matter what level you are on, whether you are the master of your craft or starting from the bottom of the totem pole, we all struggle with this. And it's so important to not only have that fierce determination to be successful in anything, because hearing the word no is inevitable in our field, and it's going to happen. Yep. So as we're building and as we are being the cultural caretakers of our businesses, of our own hearts, of our own families, that weight some days can get heavier than others, especially when our performance, let's face it, right? Loan officers right now are not doing as much business as they were doing in 2020 and 2021. And that is normal right now with considering how rates are and how the industry is flowing right now. The market is flowing. However, you guys are breaking astronomical records with credit pools and your contacts, your face-to-face contacts. How many people from that event, 150 realtors from your Annapolis Yacht Club, amazing red carpet event, have physically walked into your offices, shaked your hands, meeting face-to-face, talking through business planning. It's resulted in so much, but it wouldn't have resulted in so much if it wasn't for the power of the follow-up. And that is where the magic of your leadership and your team's specialty is really coming into place. it's easy to show up to an event and walk around and shake hands, kiss babies, and be thankful for everybody that they came for lunch
Yep.
and walked down the red carpet and saw a stunning view at the yacht club, right? But then what's that magical piece that converts the business to then deals and getting your clients into their dream homes in a market that's disruptive? So as I'm kind of setting the stage here, you've shared with me, which is what inspired me to, number one, get back on these podcasts and doing these live, because
Let's go.
right? Like, thank
Love
you.
it.
Thank
Yep.
you. And that energy that we shared of just like, we are doing ourselves and the world a disservice by not sharing this freaking message. So tell us, your breakfast club, what you've created, the energy, what it consists of, and then we'll get into some of the success stories.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're super kind. Obviously, we are, I see myself as, a constant learner and, student of the game, right? And I'm always learning. I'm still learning how to navigate this business every single day. And I think that's our strength, right? Is the ability to, you know, and I'm learning as one of the top 1% originators in the country, right? And top branch manager and originator in the company, and still have so much to learn. I'm infant in this business, and I'm aware of that. I think that's number one, is making sure that you are self-aware enough to know that you don't know everything and that you can learn new tricks, do new things, and you can do them and fail at them as well. And your life isn't over. You can actually learn, implement, adapt, and change. I'm going on here to tell anybody who thinks that they cannot. That is possible. And number one, if this inspired you to get back on doing podcasts, that was the goal of that event, was to inspire. And so,
mission
iron sharpens iron. You push me, I push you. That's what we have to do as a group. And I want to unpack what you first talked about, was the ladies at our branch. So unpack everything that you just said. So number one, the gals at our branch are absolutely incredible. And our team is something that I think we just hold near and dear to the culture that we've built from day one, from the ground up, making sure that we take our principles and they're not etched in stone to never be adjusted or changed. We need to constantly be improving and getting better and changing with the market, changing with the strengths and weaknesses of the individuals of the team, changing with opinions and information that comes in. And I think that's the biggest thing that I love about, so we have an interesting branch in that, half of our originators are males and half of them are females. I have never seen it in the industry. It's exactly what I wanted to create in my branch, and not because of male and female, but because of those individuals that we were able to bring on and what they bring to the table and what their value is to the team and the impact that has on the group, right? So it's amazing to have an originator that has X opinion, but if you don't give them the floor to share their opinion, or you don't give them the reins to take a action item from start to finish, then you'll just never see any progress from that. And I love our team's ability to take action, right? We're unafraid of being perfect. And that's definitely something that I think, we drive with the fear, right? Mm-hmm. Like Carl White says it all the time, that he wears black pants because he gets nervous and pees his pants and he just does a speech with wet pants. And I love that. I'm the other day at my team meeting, I was like, look, we got to be like Ricky Bobby. Put the freaking cougar in the car and drive with the fear. You are never, ever, ever going to not be afraid. It's literally impossible. It's just human nature. I think the best thing for our team is that we have been able to be self-aware of when we are being afraid and be vulnerable in that and just do it anyways, do it scared, right? That event, like, I'll be 100% honest with you. I was like, no way am I going to be able to fill this event in 7 days, 150 people. No way. With Joe, I just said yes to Joe. I was just like, yeah, absolutely. Like, what am I going to say? My CEO of a $6 billion company says he'll come speak. You just say yes, right? I literally, like, just, automatically. And then Aaron, like, he was like, bro, we will fill this event because you have a team to do it. We got you. And it was literally that night I called him. I was like, dude, we're literally insane. Like, we think we can put together an event, 150 people in a week. Like, it takes months, to put together those events. And so, like, I wouldn't have been able to do that without his support. And that's number one, right? Is like the team support, like, not BS support. And I'll keep it PG. Like, I have the mouth of a sailor, as you know, but I will keep it PG on this Facebook Live. The like true actual support, right? And that is support when things are going great, support when things are going poorly, right? Not, oh, Matt, you're being negative. Like, stop being negative, right? Like, the support of we got you. You have a team. That's why you created this team, right? So I think number one is true unconditional support in your team, right? It's easy to support everyone. And that's why, what you're seeing, right, in recruiting right now is over the last 2 years, when things are going great, it's pretty easy to support people. You don't really have to do much, honestly.
Pat him on the back. Good job.
Great job. Another record month, right? But when things go wrong, or you have problems, or you have headwind, that's when true leaders and true support steps up. And it's shown, honestly. I think nothing that I've seen in the industry is like new. It's just, it was like, covered by the volume and the production. And so that's number one, is the support. And number two is the accountability, right? I think that, sure, support is great, but like, I can support you without holding you accountable. And that comes from like people holding me accountable as a leader, as well as me holding them accountable as well. And so, we practice the daily success plan. So that is, not going into your everyday with just like sitting down. Hey, what am I going to do today? What's the next task? Let me open my email and see what's going on. Right.
Reclaim my desk.
Yeah. So we have a set of activities that we complete that are offensive activities, right? There's a lot of reactiveness in our business. Like, if the phone rings, sure, you have to answer it, right? You got a new lead coming in, you're reacting. Agent calls you, reacting. You got problem that you have to deal with. Anything is, a lot is reactive. But we take 2 hours a day, Monday through Thursday, and we go on offense. So we actually tweak the daily success plan a little bit. So I think it's important. Everybody who's listening is like going to look up the daily success plan. And literally, if you do that, it'll change your life, change your business, change your life. The one thing, Thursday pre-approving looking calls, if you make those calls, it will change your weekends forever, literally overnight. Just if you take anything from this Facebook Live, was that call your pre-approved lookings on Thursday and run estimates before the weekend. Look that up. But the daily success plan, everyone is different. Right. So like something might be easy for me and hard for one of my team members. My team member might be really great at X, but then the other team member is great at Y. So what we did was, and I've heard this on every single Carl White podcast, every single one, the loan officer or branch manager or broker or whatever talks about the DSP, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden they get into like, are you actually doing it? Right. And there's this little small line. I listened to his most recent one. The guy's like, yeah, but we're not doing great at this. And we kind of, right. You hear it on every podcast. Right. And so our team was experiencing that same thing. Right. So we're like, okay, we could either like just go forever without making any changes or adjustments, or we could be self-aware to know that we're not doing what we know we should be doing and make a change. So we changed and we created our own, what we call Breakfast Club. And that has literally changed our business. It's like we should actually go live on one of those breakfast clubs just because they're so
Let's
powerful.
do it.
Because they're so powerful. But we changed it from 9 to 10. And that was game changer. Instead of starting your offense at 9 a.m. from 9 to 11, start your offense at 10 a.m. from 10 to 12.
Okay.
For us personally in our branch, that changed the game because we have kid drop off and and we had people hopping in on Zoom as they were driving into the office. Maybe they get at 9:10, 9:11, right? They sit down, they have
that time.
they have 12 emails to go through. You have, it's just, I feel as though 9 to 10, a lot of activity that you need to take care of happens during that time, right? Like it's great for me to theorize. And that's the other thing that I do personally as a branch manager and an entrepreneur and business owner is I operate off of data and practicality, not theory and opinion. So like in theory, great. Yeah, I shut my email off from 9 to 11 and I just go on offense. But then we looked at like the reality of what 9 to 10 was. And it was like, I have to respond to that email. Like I can't. And so we found that 2 hours.
You're just itching the whole meeting.
Yeah. So we found that like, number one, that 2 hour prospecting time, a half hour got taken up, right? I mean, that loan officer, had to take care of that activity or they didn't respond. And it's like, oh goodness, we're doing all this prospecting and all these outbound activities. And we're trying to get our phone to ring. And when our phone is ringing, we're doing other outbound activities, right? So we said, switch it from 9 to 10, get everything that you need to take care of, taken care of. And also it gives you a little prep time too. So it gives you a little 9 to 9:45. And then at 9:45, you start to prep and put together your lists. And so that 10 o'clock, we literally hit the ground running. It's I'm like running late or whatever. So we start at 10 and we do it together. That's the biggest thing is like support is great, but if you're shutting your door and you're all alone, you don't have support. If you are listening to this live and you have a branch or a branch manager or a sales manager that is supporting you, but you are doing things alone, whether that's in your house or at your office, but your door's shut and there's no one doing it with you, you don't actually have support. That's not what support is. What support is what our team does. And it's everyone in the conference room together, right? Like we are literally making calls.
Elbow to elbow, shoulder to shoulder. So here's something, if somebody's listening to this right now, and I'm just thinking from a recruiting perspective, if I'm talking to an LO, right? Devil's advocate here.
Yep.
And I talk to a lot of LOs. They're like, I like that my lender leaves me on an island. I like not being bothered. I like to do things on my own. From what you're seeing, the feedback from the team, what is happening within the group now that you're doing these calls together, and now that you're prospecting together, now that you're seeing each other's successes, now that you're cheering each other on? Like, what magic is happening inside of that group right now?
I think there's like a kind version of what I'm going to say to that statement that loan officer said. And that is they're just unaware of how it could change their life and their business. And so they're either, number one, they're closed-minded to new opportunities. And so that's probably holding them back in multiple areas of their business. Like I would never, ever, ever say no to something if I have no data. Like, how do you know that sitting at your house without any support is what's best for you if you haven't tried coming to like, I get it. If you try it and you're like, you know what, it's just not our team. We've attempted to do this before. It's changed our business. It is. And I think if you might not have a team like that could provide you value in that session. Right? I think that might be that loan up. Like for my team to get any sort of time with me personally, that's value. Like, I'll tell you, I don't care what loan officer's listening in the country. For you to sit and hear me on the phone and me help you on the phone for 30 minutes, like in 5-10 years, I'll be charging thousands, tens of thousands of dollars for that time. And you and me know it. You're the same way, right? And we know our time for dollars, right? And we know what we could give that LO. And it's just, I think it's easy to be on your own, right? Like, it's the fear, right? I don't want to be in front of someone when they hear me bomb a call, right? Like, but to your point, if you are in sales and you are a real estate agent trying to get listings, you're not just going 5 for 5.
Mm-hmm.
You're having a phone call and the person going, you know what? Not interested. Click. And I've seen it. I've managed people. I've talked to hundreds of loan officers. You've talked to thousands, right? And we've seen the same thing. And it's like, what happens after that click, right? And I think what happens with 99.9% of loan officers is they don't make the next call, right? And they get in their head.
Lunch, or they're like, I'm done with this today. I'll try again tomorrow.
I'm done. I don't have the scripts. I don't, man, I'm not worth it. They start, imposter syndroming.
Yeah.
You are imposter syndroming yourself. And I think what I've seen has just been like life-changing for a lot of our LOs. And I won't name names of who did this, but we had an LO that we're on the breakfast call and they're like, I'm not joining because of X, Y, and Z, right? And we're like, no, you're joining. And there was a valid reason why they weren't on the call, right? And I was like, you're going to come on and make one phone call, right? And that individual came on and was like, every day we're not going to be our best self, right? So what are you going to do when you're by yourself? You're just not going to make the calls. You're just not going to, there's no one there supporting you and holding you accountable. That is the two things that does. And the anchors, man, you need it. Like, every successful person, like every husband, every wife needs a supportive husband. Every, loan officer needs a supportive loan partner. Every real estate agent needs a supportive TC. Like, I know real estate agents that without the TC, they would literally not be able to function and do what they do best, right? So it's the same thing in that group. Yeah. That LO, in not being their best at all, right? Like, I don't want to do it. I'm just not feeling it, what have you. Made the phone call, literally one phone call. It took 3.5 minutes, right? And the realtor that this individual called had been wanting her to call for years. Sorry, I gave it away. It was a her. Wanting you to call for years, and immediately in that, booked a lunch and learn with one of the largest teams in the state. 30 days from now. 3 minutes.
Phone call.
3 minutes. And I think through that, if you have that imposter syndrome, that happens to you, and you realize how deserving you are and how worthy you are. And even in your literal non-best, like, I don't even want to get out of bed day, you are able to secure a meeting with one of the top agents in the whole state, in the top teams in the whole state. So that experience for that LO and our team just changes the game. It changed the mindset, the energy around our team. It gave the other people, hey,
my phone, I'm ready to start dialing.
And then so it's like, it's energy, right? It's momentum, right? And I think so we held that person accountable, right? And that it's like, that's not going to be fun all the time, right? And I think, that's something that Carl speaks to a lot, is that, there's a book, it's called The Common Denominator. It's literally 40 something pages long. And it interviewed the top, I think, 1,500 most successful and richest people in the world to try to find a common denominator. Like, did they go to same school? Did they read the same book? Did they do this? Like, do they wake up at 4 a.m.? Like, do they meditate? What do they do? Right. And out of all these things, the only common denominator, the one thing was they do the things that they don't want to do. And that's it. And so our team is just like, yeah, of course, I don't want to cold call, or I don't want to call in front of everyone. Of course. But you do the things that you don't want to do. And we've seen just crazy, crazy success from it. Like also going out into breakout rooms. We've like, okay, everybody's in there. If you have 6 people and at round robins, it might take a little while. But to be honest with you, I'd rather, instead of spend 2 hours making like 80% of the phone calls that you don't really care about, I'd rather you make 3 really, really important phone calls. Like, I want you calling the top agents that you're trying to get business from, and the top, people that have closed business with you that you're trying to get referrals from, right? Your top, problems, whatever. Like, I want you dealing with the top instead of calling people that are just not going to pick up the phone,
right?
Voicemail, right? So we've also went out into breakout rooms. And it challenges everyone. Like, everyone's able to live on a Zoom with individuals. Like, we're literally DMing in the chat. Say this.
Wow.
Like, we had one of our LOs called an agent, and she does 300 buy sides in the last 2 years. 300. This is a whale. You would think this person has the best referral, the best lender partner, or what have you.
Right.
They're on the call, and this is in a breakout room with one of our other LOs, who's an amazing leader, and helped this individual, like, just one-on-one, right? They're just sitting next to each other, literally dialing. Like, if you've never done this, you need to do this next week, period. It will change your life and change your business.
And tell us after you did it.
Yeah. Hit me up. Literally tell me how it changed your life and how you actually booked that call, right? Where you've been trying to do it on your own and you just haven't been able to do it. You don't have the support. Like, I've just seen it. And that LO advised that loan officer, okay, hey, as you're talking, sit up a little straight, stand up when you're making those phone calls. Like, I like to make phone calls standing up. You can feel the energy, right? And that loan officer, if that loan officer was making phone calls on their own, which is what those individuals that you say they don't want to do that, they're doing the wrong thing over and over and over and over and over. So it doesn't really matter how many phone calls that they made. They're not doing the right approach, right? And third phone call, called the agent. The agent didn't have a preferred lender, by the way, doing 300 purchase transactions in 2 years. Crazy, right? You need a business partner. And number 2, majority of their business was VA, military buyers. I'm like looking at the Naval Academy right now.
Wow.
Right? So the loan officer that was on the phone didn't see it. Is a little newer. The loan officer that was helping him wrote down, say you're a VA loan specialist. And the loan officer said, oh, that's perfect. That makes that's amazing coincidence. I'm actually a VA loan specialist, and I specialize in VA loans. And the real estate agent said, oh, perfect. Well, great. I don't have a preferred lender. I have no business partner and no one that knows VA loans. I'm just using whoever. I'd love to set up a time to sit down and meet with you. And that phone call will change that loan officer's life forever.
Forever. They'll never forget that. I think about how every time I have either had a really rough call or having a rough day, and I'm like, I'm just going to make that one more phone call, because that rough thing that just happened to you is supposed to deter you away to go walk away and not meet your highest potential. So I've learned, because when I fought through that and I've jumped through the thick of the mud of whatever I was dealing with in that moment, and I do make that call, it ends up being the best freaking call of my day. 95% of the time. Yeah. And it's like, that is the way the resistance of the worlds work. And to see your team coming together and high-fiving and helping out, it's like you're all winning, which we all know that it only speeds up that momentum.
Totally. And I think there's a lot that is, when you're alone, there's a lot of positive too. I'm not knocking that, right? Like, when you're alone and you're making phone calls and you push through and you did it alone, no one was with you, you find out what you're made of. I'm not poo-pooing that. I think there's value in that. And I do a lot of things alone. But that loan officer. So speaking to production, right? Like there's a lot of things right now that not just getting a ratified contract is the only thing that's fulfilling in this business, right? And I think a lot of loan officers right now, because maybe they don't have as many people saying yes to locking in refis, or hey, I'm finally under contract, right? They're missing those dopamine hits. They're missing, the things that we love about this business, right? And so that's why we do those things, because the loan officer that helped that other LO was more jacked up, banging on the desk saying, let's go. We were all like in the office, like, what in the world happened? As if that person had the win themselves. Right. And I think that was so powerful. And it's like, okay, great. So, creating educational content, helping other loan officers, calling my referral partners and just seeing how they're doing, like spending time with my family. Like there's all these other things outside of getting a contract in the door that can give you that sense of fulfillment, pride, and like, it's a dopamine hit. It's literally like we do what we do for the recruit to say yes, right? And the yes means you change their life, and what that entails, right? We love that ratified contract because it means that person's finally a homeowner. They've rented for 6 years and they've literally saved up all this money, and it changes their life. And we get paid, right? Like we do this to, use the money as a tool. So I think that's, for me personally, what I've seen with my team is it's given them outlets to, like Hannah at our branch always says this, is like, I want to have fun every day. And there is no coincidence that Hannah has that mindset of having fun and helping people. And she did $32 million in origination volume in her first calendar year. There's no coincidence, right? It's like when you look at that and you don't look at the numbers, all of a sudden the numbers play out. And that's something that I've seen from our team and now's the time to do it. Now's the time to do it. Q4 and Q1 every single year is slow. Every year. No matter what. You look back 20, 30 years of originations, and it's the same cycle every single year. So I look at the data and I say we do 36% of our business from Q4 and Q1, right? 36%. And then in Q2 and Q3, we do 64% of our business.
That's when it comes alive.
Yes. So right now we're in the point of the business where we already every year don't do as much business. That's the data. And we have, headways, right, of recession, increased interest rates, home values. People are a little scared and indecisive squirrels, right? And the lack of education, right? The fear that's put out in the media. So we have all these things that are making our production a little bit less. There is so many other opportunities outside of just bringing loans in that you can do now that in April, May, and June will literally exponentially grow your business and change your life. Every single person that you and I have ever seen speak, Carl, Tony Robbins, Gary Vee, Ed Milet, all these individuals, what I've noticed is every single one of them says, I made my wealth during the recession. Period.
It is the time where the most millionaires are ever made.
Yes. It's the time where the most, so the time where the most millionaires are ever made is recessions, and 92% of millionaires are made through real estate.
We're in a good seat, my friend.
The time is now. And the biggest thing is support and accountability with your teams. And we're actually this is agents are doing this now too, right? So it's like agents that are listening, are you guys meeting? Great, you don't have an office. Great, you work from home and you're with a whatever brokerage, but can you get on one time a week? You think that would, change your business? It's it would explode it if you actually had a set of activities that's outbound. And so that's what we're doing with our partners is we are saying that, yes, we can be incredible loan officers and business, mortgage advisors to your clients, but we are bringing those agents into our office, creating content. And that is not just social media, content happens through email and text as well. Not all my clients are on social media, right? So I want to make sure that I can educate everyone. And that was the number one thing Joe said from our event was like education. What would he do is educate people right now, bringing them in, helping them create educational pieces so that they can distribute that to their database and come in once a month, right? Let's not just do this yesterday and then we never do it. And 4 months from now, we meet and we say, hey, that was awesome. I wish we were doing it. So through that event, that is, and we're like, it's December 2nd. We're, 14 days out from our event. We've taken this last 2 weeks and we've really listened to the people who are at the event and from the information that's been given. And that is something that we have been doing is agents come into the office, sit with us. We'll help you create content and you'll distribute it to your database via email, text message on all social media platforms. We're doing email on Monday. Wednesday is going out to social. And we're doing this 8 times a month and we're meeting once a month. And so that's something that, we're doing that no one else is. And we're doing it in the holidays, right? So as everyone is like taking their foot off the gas and chilling, we're creating these strategies to help develop business that you're not going to see it until April. And then all of a sudden, magically, our team, you'll see it. Everybody that's listening, you'll see all of a sudden, magically, our team is going to have incredible numbers in April. We're going to be one of the top branches in the company, country, what have you. Our originators are going to be smashing their goals, and it's going to be from activity that happened now.
It is incredible because not only is everybody in a fight, or freeze mentality right now, you're like coming in with Mr. Heat Miser and unlocking and unfreezing all these people in their seats. When you have that, yes, accountability, but also a plan to step into, it's like you're going to a show. You're not the one sitting there directing the show. You're eating the popcorn, but it will require a little bit of work. So if you're not afraid to get your hands dirty in a very respectful way, but if you're not afraid to do the work, if you're not afraid to be open to new ideas, because let's be honest, what worked 5 years ago, 2 years ago, a year ago is different today. And so many loan officers get stuck in the ways that worked for them 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago. We all know, who those people are. You have to adapt. So leaning into the people around you, there have been so many messages in here. I'm going to go back and reflect on this, and I'm going to pull out little snippets of this recording. If this is going to be on Apple Podcast as well, so stay tuned for the link to go back. You can watch this right here on Facebook. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on LinkedIn, I got to figure out how to get this on Instagram. But the little snippets I think will help. Guys, gals, thank you for tuning in. There have been so much growth within these last 47 minutes and 50 seconds that I can't begin to thank you for, Matt. You have spoke life into me, into our audience, into your team, into yourself. And every day we are just taking our machetes through the imposter syndrome and clearing the path for ourselves, for our families, for our future abundance, our future wellness and financial peace. So no matter where you're at in your fight, keep fighting and know that this is only going to set your launching pad into your next level to go even further, and know that you've got a village around you. So Matt Miller, AnnieMac branch manager, one of the youngest branch managers in the company, top branch in the top rankings of the company. I couldn't be more proud to know you and support you and grow your team. I know your group is cheering you on always, and thank you for being the leader you are.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the kind words. And of course, it's been, an incredible journey learning and growing with you. I've seen what accountability and support, true, not just like monetarily, but like day to day ins and outs, ups and downs support has done for me, for you, for my branch. And so that's why we're, extending that to our referral partners and other LOs in the company. That's been the greatest joy too for me, is speaking to other LOs and helping them change their business. Iron sharpens iron. We're all in this together. And I think, it's rare, right, to hear people right now saying, oh, the market's great. Here's why, right? If you are feeling down and you are, don't have that person or that individual, like literally text me and I will hop on a phone call with you, regardless of where you are at in your journey. If you want any tactics of what we're sharing, like my goal is to help as many people as possible. And that's definitely, why Kelsey and I hopped on here. So thank you so much for having me on. I'm grateful for you and excited for the next time you and G come down to Naptown and spend some time with us.
We're going to have so much fun. I do love it down there. And what's the best way for people to get in touch with you so I can
honestly, just either two things, either Instagram at Matt Mortgage Miller _ if we want to put it in the chat, or just my cell phone. So it's Matt Mortgage Miller _ is our my Instagram, my personal Instagram. I answer all my DMs and everything. Our team is at AnnieMac Annapolis on Instagram. Like you can literally see everything that we do from our team. And then just my cell. Like if you want to reach out on my cell, 240-678-4669. I'd be more than, willing to share any and everything. I'm an open book. And I think that's the way that we grow and learn together. So I like when people call me, I learn every single time, right? No matter if they're a $5 million producer or 400 million, $1 billion branch, I learn every single time I'm on the phone. So I would love to connect with anybody that reaches out.
Always be closing, always be learning. I love it. Matt, peace out. You're the best. I'll talk to you.
You too.
Bye, guys.